We will seek you, find you. 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 We will seek you, find you.
Travis Wengetzel. One of the most disturbing things after moving to Utah is learning that Mormons, though they readily acknowledge that Joseph Smith is our founder of the church, they don't believe him. I don't understand why Mormons won't believe Joseph Smith. Mormons readily acknowledge the titles of prophet, seer, revelator, and translator for Joseph Smith, and yet I'm disturbed that Mormons deny his powers of prophet, seer, revelator, and translator. I don't understand Mormons. I was born and raised in the Covenant Mormon. I don't understand why Mormons betray Joseph Smith. It doesn't make sense to me. And so Mormons instead say that they follow the living prophet of Jesus. And yet they don't. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. Nelson has made some new commandments, and Mormons are not obeying them. Who are you following, Mormons? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. Section 28, verse 2. But behold, verily, verily, I say unto thee, no one shall be appointed to receive commandments and revelations in this church, excepting my servant Joseph Smith, Jr., for he receiveth them even as Moses. So Joseph Smith is a man like Moses. Mormons don't study. Joseph Smith in the 1838 vision, second vision, verse 40, is quoting to Acts, which is quoting from Deuteronomy, the law of the Jews concerning their Christ. Jews are not Christians, who's a man like Moses, of prophecy and revelation in the future, not Moses of the past turned literal history. That's Christian doing. See, I understand Christianity, why they betray the Jews, why they betray their keystone scripture called the Bible, because of Constantine. Constantine replaced the Jews and got over 4 billion on the earth today to still be deceived by Constantine's changes. But despite claiming the Bible is Christian, doesn't make the Bible Christian. And so again, Mormons, why do you deny, betray, and not believe Joseph Smith? If he is your founder, nobody's allowed to touch his documents except him. Nobody's allowed to make changes except him. Nobody is authorized but him. I shouldn't have to explain this for you. And you shouldn't be getting angry at me because you got deceived by the current prophets. And why are there 15 of them? Only Joseph has it. No one shall be appointed. Which means only Nelson, if this church were true. And yet, we hear that all 15 have to agree in order to make changes in this church. So what's the point and purpose of Nelson? If he has no authority on his own to make changes, like Joseph Smith did, what good is he? What good is the first presidency? Just make the leadership of the church a quorum of 12, so we can get rid of 3 guys. It doesn't make sense to me. I know what I read. And to be threatened to pray and get the feeling that this is wrong doesn't make sense to me. We all know the Book of Mormon is the keystone of Mormonism. Why don't you believe it? Section 119 on tithing violates the Book of Mormon, which has more authority, Mormons. This is not complicated. If the Book of Mormon is our keystone, Section 119 is false. Because Section 119 goes against the Book of Mormon. Blatantly goes against the Book of Mormon. I don't understand you. You're not making sense. Section 132 on polygamy. Oh, Joseph was going to murder Emma. It doesn't make sense. It's going against the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith. The 1835 edition of the Doctrine and Covenants had a whole section on monogamy. Section 132 wasn't put in until Brigham Young's Doctrine and Covenants the year before he died in 1876. Now it appears. It doesn't make sense, because it tells me that Brigham Young is a false prophet, that Brigham Young is not authorized. And so, how was Joseph Smith to be succeeded? Section 107, verse 22. Did it happen? Nope. So nobody on the face of the earth is authorized. Joseph Smith's church ceased to exist. The authority is gone, because only Joseph had the authority to lead. No one shall be appointed to receive. Nobody followed the Doctrine and Covenants to succeed Joseph Smith, so the authority is not passed to anybody. Nobody is authorized. So why are you still following this church? It doesn't make sense. And so do you just throw your hands up in the air and go, nothing, it's all hopeless? Go into a faith crisis? Is that what you're going to do? Curl up in a ball and die? Such a drama queen. Do you not know about the one mighty and strong? Yeah, this church won't claim it. Come on. I want her picture. Boo, YouTube. Boo. So yeah, a woman with long, wavy blonde hair and a white overcoat, looking like she might be a doctor. She says, try this to get rock hard in 6 seconds. I'm not signed in. Kids are able to see this. Mommy, what's rock hard? Bleep you, YouTube, for silencing me on Mother's Day. That was a targeted attack against me. Because clearly YouTube has no problem exposing women to children, as well as teaching them how to build bombs to take to school if the schools are going to deny them taking guns to school. So, the one mighty and strong comes from that same Deuteronomy passage, by the way. So, YouTube then sends me an advertisement, a modern siding aesthetic for your home. Yes, AI. Brilliant. So glad we're being overrun by AI. Yep. This will certainly improve society for sure. So there's Blake Sirius. One mighty and strong. 1K views 2 years ago. In this video, I discuss scriptural evidence which points to Joseph Smith being the individual referenced in, oh my God. No! Have you never read it? I just, oh my God. So it was Joseph Smith, so it doesn't need to be fulfilled anymore. It's just, Mormons. Revelation given through Joseph Smith, the prophet, at Kirtland, Ohio, November 27th, 1832. History of the Church, Volume 1, page 298, 299. This section is an extract from a letter of the prophet to W. Phelps, who was living in Independence, Missouri. It was given to answer questions about those saints who had moved to Zion, but who had not received their inheritances according to the established order of the church. Okay, so maybe it is Joseph. Oh no, he got you, Travis. Why wasn't it put in the 1835 Doctrine and Covenants? Why wasn't it put in the 1833 Book of Commandments? It wasn't put in until Brigham Young's 1876. Now, this is legitimate, unlike Section 132. This has an original source document. We know it's by Joseph Smith. Section 132, no, it's the linguistic pattern of Brigham Young. Big difference. But that's requiring study. And so, talking to him, referring to Malachi, he may tithe his people to prepare them against the day of vengeance and the abomination of desolation. So is it 100 in Section 19 from 1838? No, Malachi. Tithing is for the poor. And so, this is what it's talking about. That Mormons are supposed to have an economy in which tithing is used to give to the poor Mormons so that it's food and clothing, and the food, whether it be plants or animals, contains seed so that they can produce more food and more animals. And so the poor, by giving them food that contains seed for more food, they then are able to take care of themselves and no longer be poor. That's God's economy. Investment. Not Section 119. Big difference. So, their names shall not be found, neither the names of their fathers nor the names of their children, written in the book of the law of God. Did you know that Nelson rushed before Thanksgiving last year to release that book, so titled? And yet they claimed it was support for Section 119. Which, nope. It's not Joseph Smith's book of the law. He didn't keep one. Now, anybody who knows English grammar can go back and go, wait a minute, their names shall not be found. That's a command and it's a future tense. And so, let's keep reading. Yea, thus saith the still small voice. What is that? Which whispereth through and pierceth all things. And oftentimes it maketh my bones to quake, while it maketh manifest, saying, what is it about to happen here? Or do you deny the power of Joseph Smith? He's about to prophesy. So it's the future. And it shall come to pass that I, the Lord God, will, future, send. It's not Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith has already been sent. And Joseph Smith is the one through whom the prophecy is coming through about a future person. This was basic English grammar 101. And who is this guy who couldn't figure this out? Blake Surius, who's got 1,000 views in 2 years. See, I don't need to watch his 21-minute, 44-second video to find out if there's any valuable information in there, because as you just saw, I know more than him. I know he's wrong. This is what happens when you obtain fruit of the word. And so, arrival of the one mighty and strong. So, yep. Attacked by a cyber terrorist attack by AI, because I'm looking up the one mighty and strong. Isn't that great? Presumably dictated by Joseph Smith to his scribe, Frederick G. Williams. Oh my God, do you not know how to do literary investigation? It's in the Joseph Smith papers even. Of course, this was a long time before the Joseph Smith papers. And so, yeah, the Evening and the Morning Star, Phelps printed it. From June 1832 to July 1833. W. Phelps published it in the Evening and Morning Star. It's in the Joseph Smith papers. Joseph Smith didn't say, hey, what the bleep are you doing? I never said this. Nope. Joseph Smith approved. And so it's not supposedly, or is accusing Joseph Smith of writing this. No. It's not presumed. It's an established fact. Let every man learn his duty was the title of the heading. Without any context or editorial commentary, thus implying that this message was designated for the saints in Zion at that time. But it was not put in canon of Scripture. Joseph Smith allowed it to be published, did not cause a retraction to be made. I never said that. But he did not put it in the Doctrine and Covenants. But Brigham did. But it's a prophecy of Joseph Smith. It should have been in our canon. But Joseph Smith has others talking about the same thing. Then it was reprinted in the Times and Seasons in October 1844. And then the Millennial Star here in this valley in June 1852. Both times without explanation. That's why I downloaded it for my collection. Because he's putting in factual, historical information. despite his conclusion, the elusive. He's not elusive. He's here. Mormons missed him. He came and nobody believed him. Everybody tried to murder him. So he's gone. Oh no, Mormons. He went back to Kolob? He's got supernatural powers, huh? It is not known why Orson Pratt determined that portions of Joseph Smith's letter to Phelps should be canonized by placement in the Doctrine and Covenants. It is doubtful, however, that he realized that a few verses from the letter, those referring to one mighty and strong, would become a divisive issue in his church. Shouldn't be. I already went over with you. It's the Jewish Christ. We're Jewish. So yes, Joseph Smith as the Messiah Christ, son of Joseph, is to prepare the way for the coming of Messiah Christ, son of David. But Jesus, where do your loyalties lie, Mormons? Because if you claim Joseph is Christian, this now becomes a divisive issue. Avraham Gileadi was fired and excommunicated for talking about this guy. How dare you? We're the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Give loyalty to us. And so he caved and came crawling back on his hands and knees. Please take me back. There must be some mistake. I promised to be silent on this. I promised to betray Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon. Please take me back. I've got a family. I'm well known in the church. Please. And so, yeah. Church must be true then, huh? If they have to do that to people, the church must be true. It's just sick and wrong. There's the Desnat terrorist group in this church. It goes around threatening people with death if they don't obey the living prophet of Jesus. Not the Book of Mormon. Alma, chapter 1. Nehor. You don't know about Nehor? Murder to get gain, to enforce his priestcraft. You know, section 119. Why are you so incapable of understanding this, Mormons? Why do you deny? He says, strangely, the one mighty and strong who would set in order the house of God is not identified. Seriously? Why is it that I'm the only one that can figure this out? He does. Comes from Deuteronomy. Do you know how many times that Deuteronomy passage has been plagiarized in all scriptures? It's not just in Acts. It's not just in verse 40 of the Joseph Smith history. It's in the Book of Mormon, in 3rd Nephi. It's multiple times in the Book of Mormon. We can go to it. Lest you not believe me. Because there's footnotes. I know you were told to just get a feeling, not do any studying, because that'll lead you astray. Deep doctrine. Look up footnotes. And so, well, look at that. It's even repeated in Deuteronomy, in case you couldn't catch on here in verse 18. Saying verse 34, or chapter 34, verse 10. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses. Whom the Lord knew face to face. Because nobody else is the fulfillment of prophecy. So it still has yet to happen. That's what he's telling you. So there's in B, concerning the prophet, Acts 3, 22, 23, Acts 7, 37, 1 Nephi 22, 21, 3 Nephi 20, 23. Notice Nephi's. Who appeared to Joseph Smith in the second vision? Do you believe Joseph Smith, or do you believe Willard Richards, who tampered and altered it? No one's allowed to make changes but Joseph Smith. Why did Willard Richards, after Joseph is dead, make changes? He's not allowed to. He has no authority to do so. If it was Brigham Young who told him to make the changes, Brigham Young has no authority. He wasn't properly called by the Section 107.22 process. So he's not authorized. Sidney Rigdon's not authorized. James Strang is not authorized. Alpheus Cutler is not authorized. Nobody is authorized. Not the Temple Lot Church, not even Joseph Smith III. Nobody is authorized. Getting the point of why we're focusing on the Jewish Christ, the one mighty and strong, the man like Moses. He's authorized. He's prophesied to come. He will have the fruits of prophet, seer, revelator, translator, have all the keys. That's why it's important to know that it's Nephi, because section 27 verse 5 is an error, and Joseph Smith makes the correction with his second vision. Only he is authorized to make the change. But he never got to make the change, other than the second vision, which did get published in the Times and Seasons in 1842. Why don't Mormons study? He was doing so well, and then he blew it. Because he didn't know about the learning of the Jews. You've got to know the learning of the Jews. You can't dismiss it. You can't impose Christianity. You will screw up your whole argument. So we do know who he is. His name will be He Who Is From the Crossroads of the Wagoneer Sun God at noonday. There is no other name by which he shall be known. But Travis, Jesus. Do you not understand what prophecy and revelation is? Do we say Jesus and the three bears? Do we talk about Jesus Christ is coming to town? He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Jesus, the red-nosed reindeer. Shall we keep on going? Why don't we say Jesus? Because their stories have symbolic significance to teach people. And in Hebrew, names have meaning. And so now he's not understanding about setting in order. He's taken it out of context with the house of God. House of God is the temple. Joseph Smith is prophesying that his temple will be producing bacon on the altar. Do you know what I'm talking about? No? The Greeks conquered Jerusalem, took over the temple from the Jews, began sacrificing pigs. You can be a big pig too. I don't think I know the whole lyrics, especially to be able to say it as fast as he does in the Lion King. Yeah. Why is he called Simba? Why isn't he called Jesus? There are just some things that are no duh, and when you don't catch the no duh, you get laughed at because you didn't catch it. It's talking about the temple. Joseph Smith says he's going to establish the temple because he's Messiah ben Joseph, to prepare the way for Messiah ben David. 2 Nephi chapter 3. Remember Book of Mormon, learning of the Jews. And so Joseph Smith knows that he's going to be murdered, his church usurped, his temple tampered with, altered, changed. So what changes did Brigham Young make to Joseph Smith's temple? Well, Brigham Young claims Joseph Smith gave him authority to make the changes. Yeah, now we have the covenant path, the 5 laws of bondage to Jesus. And the symbol of your bondage to Jesus is your underwear. That's the changes. And dear God, you know there are inverted pentagrams on the Nauvoo temple that were put on after Joseph is dead. What the hell makes you think they belong to Joseph? They are the symbol of Lucifer. Joseph Smith is murdered. He's gone. And Brigham Young puts the symbol of Lucifer on the Nauvoo temple. And you can't figure this out. You give loyalty to Brigham rather than Joseph. The keystone on the doors of the Salt Lake Temple is the inverted pentagram, which means the doctrines of Lucifer are taught within. And you can't figure this out? Every 4 years for the Book of Mormon, yes, this year, you were given the lesson at the beginning of the year about the Book of Mormon being the keystone, and so you're educated on the keystone and what it means and how it's significant. And you all know there's a keystone on the doors of the Salt Lake Temple, and it's Lucifer's. And you deny Joseph and give loyalty to Lucifer? I don't understand. This is horrifying now. You are not following Joseph. You are not following the Book of Mormon if you're following Lucifer. But now I understand why the church is trying to murder me. Now I understand why the church punishes people for disloyalty. This is why the church threatens people to pay up. This is why the church commits crimes. Because they are not authorized. This is not Joseph's church. This is not the doctrine of the Book of Mormon. So yes, the future Christ of Mormons is supposed to set in order the temple, to get rid of all that crap, to overturn the money changers. But Mormons don't believe in him. Mormons believe Lucifer. Mormons worship Lucifer. So what are the consequences of not listening to the true Christ? Utter destruction. Dear God, Mormons. How did you let yourself be deceived?